All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something huge, a challenge that honestly almost every growing company faces. How in the world do you tame the beast that is network security? We're going to look at how you can go from total firewall chaos to having a single, powerful command center. And the key to all of it? Palo Alto Panorama.
So let me ask you a question. Your network's growing, right? You're adding new offices, more people, more devices. And does it feel like your security management is just getting out of hand? I mean, really spiraling? If you're sitting there nodding your head, trust me, you are not alone. This is such a classic growing pain, and it's exactly what we're going to dig into. And that feeling, that spiraling chaos, I like to call it the firewall juggling act. You know what I mean? When you're managing every single firewall one by one, it's not management. It's a frantic game of whack-a-mole. A threat pops up over here, you whack it. A policy needs an update over there, you whack that one. You're constantly just reacting, and it feels like you can never, ever get ahead. You know, the biggest problem with all that juggling is just inconsistency. It's almost inevitable. When you're jumping between devices, setting them up individually, tiny differences are going to creep in. The rule you set up perfectly on your main data center firewall, well, it might be just a little bit different or worse, completely missing on that new branch office device. And those are the tiny hidden gaps that threats just love to slip through. And then there's the grind of manual updates. Just picture it. You have to log in to 10, 20, maybe even 100 different firewalls, one by one, just to push out a simple software patch or a new policy. It's not just boring and slow. Every single time you log in, that's another chance for a typo, a misclick, human error. It's a huge risk. But here's the most dangerous part, I think. Security blind spots. When you don't have that single unified view, you just can't see the whole picture. It's impossible. You might get an alert on one firewall, right? But you have no easy way to connect it to what's happening on another one. You're basically trying to solve a giant puzzle, but half the pieces are missing. How can you possibly see the threat? And look, this really puts it into perspective. With individual management, you're pouring in a ton of time, and what do you get for it? Low consistency and high risk. It's a terrible trade-off. But look what happens when you centralize. The whole script just flips. Your time commitment plummets, your consistency goes through the roof, and your risk, it drops like a rock. This shows the real problem isn't just about being busy. It's about getting terrible results for all that hard work. So how do we fix this mess? Simple. We need a central command center. Think about it like an air traffic control tower for your entire network. Instead of a bunch of pilots all trying to land their planes at the same time in the fog, you have one controller sitting in the tower with a complete, clear view, guiding every single plane in safely and efficiently. Well, that controller, for your network, that's Panorama. Yep, that air traffic controller, that's Palo Alto Panorama. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a centralized management system that gives you one single pane of glass to see and control your entire fleet of firewalls, all from one spot. It's the powerful and honestly elegant solution to all the chaos we've been talking about. Okay, so we get what it is, but the big question is, how does it actually do it? How does it bring order to all that chaos? Well, let's pop the hood and take a look. You'll see it's actually pretty logical, pretty streamlined. And the workflow is, well, it's just beautiful. It's so logical. First, you organize. You group your firewalls together, say all branch offices, and you use templates to make sure they're all consistent. Next, you deploy. You can push security policies to that entire group with one click. Then, you monitor everything, all the activity from one single dashboard. And finally, you update. You manage all your software updates from that same central place. 4 simple steps. The juggling act? It's over. And the result of doing all this? You get the holy grail of security, total visibility. I'm talking 1, comprehensive view of everything, the applications, the users, the content, the traffic, and most importantly, you can finally see how threats are trying to move across your entire network. Remember those dangerous blind spots we mentioned? Gone. Vanished. So we've covered the what and the how. But now for the most important part, right? The so what, the payoff. Why does all of this really matter? what's the actual tangible benefit for you and your team when you make this shift? And I mean, the difference is it's stark. Just look at this. Before, your admin effort is through the roof. After, it just plummets. And your security posture. You go from being inconsistent and, let's be honest, pretty weak, to being strong and consistent across the board. Think about that. You're doing way, way less work to get a much, much better result. It really proves the key point. Today, efficiency and strong security have to go hand in hand.
And you can really see how these benefits all connect to each other. When you reduce the admin workload, that frees up your team's time. And what does that let them do? It lets them focus on building an improved security posture. And all of this is only possible because of that enhanced network visibility we just talked about. See? Less work, better security, total visibility. It's a perfect circle.
So look, if there is just one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this right here. The power of Panorama is the power of one. One place to create all your policies. One dashboard to watch for threats. One click to push updates to your entire network. It is the ultimate simplification for a ridiculously complex problem.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, this sounds great, but how does it actually fit into my environment? Well, the good news is it's designed to be really flexible. You've got a couple of solid options.
Basically, you have two main paths you can go down. You can get Panorama as a physical appliance, a dedicated piece of hardware you just rack up in your data center, or if you're like a lot of folks and running a virtualized environment, you can just deploy it as a virtual machine. That flexibility means it can pretty much slot into any modern IT shop out there. I really love this idea because it perfectly sums up the whole transformation. You go from being that frantic juggler, just trying to react so you don't drop anything, to being the conductor of a security orchestra. Every single instrument, every firewall is playing together in perfect harmony, all from the same sheet of music. You're in control. And that really leaves us with one final big question. As our networks keep getting more complex and more spread out, which they will, the question isn't really should we centralize anymore. The real question is, can we afford not to? I mean, is the risk of inconsistent policies, of major security blind spots, of simple human error, is that a price your organization is really willing to pay? That's the thing to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.